What's going on, YouTube family? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you this morning with another lake breakdown for Possum Kingdom Lake. I've had a ton of requests for this one. This is a big one, 17,000 acres. Looks like it's pretty clear water. It's on the Brazos River as well, so really good depth. Just looks like a real fun lake to fish. I understand they're having a tournament in a couple weeks where you can only use swim baits that are 6 inches or longer. They can't have any other gear on their boat other than that. So that should be interesting. Sounds like a really fun lake to fish, and one that we need to get out and see what they've got out there. I hear they've got some pretty big giants, and by looking at this breakdown, I can see why. Lots of places for them to hide, lots of cover, lots of structure. We're going to break it all down for you, so let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go, Possum Kingdom Lake. As I mentioned in the intro, this one is a pretty big lake, 17,000 acres. So you can see here when I zoom back on it, I mean, it's pretty good size. Possum Kingdom does look really cool though. I mean, it definitely looks like it follows basically a river channel going through here, and you can see how it has lots of twists and turns and bends and all that stuff. And you can also see that we have got a lot of different things marked on this lake. So let's go ahead and start over here on the left side. I just like to show you guys this to start with. So this, just going to pull over here and we're going to break down Possum Kingdom here. And this is where just kind of got everything organized. So we've got offshore hotspots. So if you just wanted to see the offshore hotspots that I've got marked out here, these are high percentage areas for you guys to be able to find fish. You could go out here and just look at the offshore stuff. You can also go out to here and just say you wanted to fish rocks. You can limit that to just rocks. You've also got cover, so this would be your laydowns, debris, stuff like that, or maybe just areas where I couldn't tell what it is, but I knew you needed to check it. You'd want to go over there and check those out. We've also got all of the ramps marked, so you guys have heard me talk about the boat ramp pattern before. I'm definitely big into finding boat ramps. I think boat ramps tend to have a lot of activity around them, so I like to mark all of them and check a lot of them out, especially those personal ones. So we've got all of the ramps marked here as well. And then the big thing that we've been adding lately, we've always had them, but we had them with waypoints. Now we're doing it with tracks, would be all these channels and ditches. So now you can see all these different channels and ditches that we have throughout the lake. These are prime areas to find fish, really good places to look. And then last but not least, we also have different points. So we have a couple different points that we've marked off that you guys should probably go and take a look at. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and select everything again. I'm going to take offshore off because we're going to break down the offshore stuff with Navionics later on, and we'll go through and explain why we think those spots are good offshore spots and things like that. So right now, we're just going to focus on just the Google Earth stuff. So it's probably going to take us a couple videos, maybe 2 or 3. Don't really know, but let's go ahead and jump into it and see. But we're going to start up here at the very north side. Now, I did not break down the river, right? So I just kind of left the river alone, but I did start right up here. So I'm going to start up here right by Highway 16 at the very northern tip that we can find. And then I'm going to work my way down. And what I'll do is I'm going to stay on the west side of the creek channel. So as I stay on the west side of the creek channel, that's just going to take me down into all these points. And what we'll do is when we get to the bottom of the lake, we'll circle back around and we'll come back up this east side. So that's where we're going to start. My apologies. My dog has decided she is going to dig a hole in the wooden floor for some reason. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. I'm going to start you up here on this northern side. And the first thing that I want to do is talk to you about this timing. So I'm going to go up here and hit this little button here. And what this is going to do is allow me to bring the lake down to show me if there's anything there that would be worth fishing. And of course, this always works, or it doesn't always work, but typically works. So we're just going to mess around with the dates. Now, the best date that I could find that I really liked was right here. So this would be 12 of 2013. Now, you can mess around with a little bit. I think it even says this is the same image for 15 as well. So you'll want to just look at that. But if you mess around with it, get around 2012, you're really going to see where the water was drawn down, way down. And now we can start to kind of uncover what was available to us. So I went ahead and went all the way up here and just marked some stuff up here. This looked interesting to me because it was like a little high spot that happens right up in here. And you've got a lot of debris, you got a lot of rock and stuff like that. I could see this area right here, if you were going way back up in this channel or this river, being a really good place to look. Got lots of chunk rock and stuff like that. And then as you move down that river, I'm just going to keep moving down here. Didn't see a lot, but then as we get in here, we've got these little like crop outs that were with really big boulders, and those fish love to set around this stuff. It's a really good place for them to set up and ambush things as they come by. You've got some current, so they can hide. They can hide right in front of the rock and let that current go over the top of them. They can hide behind it. You know, just all kinds of different places they can do. Easy places to ambush bait. Really good places to fish. So I marked 3 of those places right there. Those are your different big boulders and rocks. And then you've also got some debris out here just in the middle of the channel too. So I just marked all this stuff where you can see here some more debris. And then really wasn't a lot going on through there. You know, obviously almost all the way dry. You've got some laydowns going on right in here. I've marked for you guys laydowns there as well. Another laydown right in here. Some rock that was right in here. So you got a really good boulder right in here. And then you've also got a pretty decent sized rock that's right there that you could fish around. Lots of laydowns and stuff to flip around. Some debris up in here. This, I couldn't tell if this was debris or if this was actually a big old giant rock. So check them out. But anyways, all these big giant rocks, you can see them out here. Fish the ones that are furthest out, right? We always talk about fishing the things that are different, the things that stick out. Well, these things stick out. Yeah, there's some more big rocks right in here. You can see them on the bank line. It's hard with this Google Earth image because the angle's really bad. But you can tell there's similar big rocks around here, but these stick out. In fact, that one sticks out too. So you could check out those. Those are going to be your higher percentage areas. You've also got some rock that's around in here that you can take a look at. Those big boulders again sticking out. Some more brush in here. And then you've got some pretty decent rock that's just right off of this point. So you could always take a look at that point and see what you can find. Now, obviously, you need to be careful coming back in here. I'm seeing lots of stumps and debris and stuff like that. So just be careful coming in here. Now, back in here, we're going to keep going down the left side, right? So I'm looking for anything that's different, anything that would be unique. Obviously, these 3 little points that stick out, they're unique to me. They're different. This was a sandy little bottom, and then all of a sudden we have a transition area right here. And then we've got these points, these little mini points that come off. So check out those. They've got some rock on the side of them. I could definitely see them being worthy of fishing. Now, most of the time, remember when we're talking about fishing big river channel lakes and things like that, especially this one being basically made up of a river, you definitely want to follow that river channel. Wherever that channel is, that's where you need to be. You need to be around that river channel or fishing near that river channel. So just don't forget that, especially when you're on this lake. That's going to be critical for you guys to be able to find some really good fish. All right, so then moving down here, we're going to go off of this point. Again, I'm going to stay over here on the west side. We get down here, we've just got some debris that I saw that was underneath the water here. Can't really tell what this is, but this looks like it could be a pretty good little area. Really good debris. And again, I can't tell, maybe some big chunk rock right there or something. Something's going on right in that area. And then moving over here, we've got some really good standing timber coming off this point. That's always good to fish. And then as we move over here, we've obviously got rock along this bank line, but these rocks stick out, right? There's some really bigger rocks that kind of stick out off the edge of this point. So look at that and look at that area right there, kind of the same thing, those bigger rocks sticking off that point. Now, what I wanted to show you here is I didn't go up into the river, and I told you guys, I didn't go up here because there's really not a lot to show you up here. But one thing that I saw that just intrigued me, and there may not be anything here at all. This could be a total waste of your time. Maybe it would just be cool to look at on down and side scan to see what it is. But anytime I'm looking at this and there's things that just stick out at me, like this, for whatever reason, they just stick out to me, I always want to go look at them and fish them. And a lot of times they end up being a really good place to fish. So I want you guys to look at these 2 places. There's no guarantee there's going to be any fish here at all, but I want you to take a look at them and just see what in the world is going on here. So if we look up here, we come off this river channel, which is right here. This almost looks like it could be shell or rock or something. I can't tell what this is, but it's just right here in this area. So come up here and check that out. That's probably a fish magnet, more than likely. So anyways, check that out and see what you can find. And then this was really interesting. So It's kind of like where it washed out, and maybe this is where when it got really, really low, there just wasn't anything there. But this looks really cool. And I don't know, I can't tell. It actually looks like you can see some shade. So these look like they could be some pretty good little depth changes that are going on right in this area. Places where the fish could kind of hunker down inside those little ditches and things like that. So I don't know if this area would be as good as that. That looks better to me because it looks like it's got some rock or something in it. But go over here and check this out, and just if you can, put down in the comments, let me know, hey, that's nothing, don't worry about it. It's just washout, or hey, that was a really cool area when there's actually some fish that are attracted there. Because you do have kind of the creek mouth coming here, and then the river channel coming in through here. That all looks good spots. And then right here too, don't forget to come over here and look. See where this little rock is right in here? I did not mark that, but that looks like it could be pretty good too, especially if that's all getting washed out and it's being pushed right up against this little point. So take a look at that area. And then I'm going to keep moving down here. Just some things to look at as you're coming down this. You got that sandy kind of bank, not a ton of rock, scattered rock and stuff like that, but you do have these little areas, just a couple little areas where you just got scattered timber. So you got some timber right there, you got some timber right here, and then you got some timber that's over here as well. And again, it doesn't look like there's too much going on along this bank line, but you've definitely got the cover there with the timber. So then as we move further down, didn't see too much going on until I got in here. And then here we find a pretty good pond dam. Now you can see that obviously the water's way down. This image is showing that it's December of 2013. But if we take the water up, let's say we take it up to 2016, that pond dam is totally covered. So that could be a really good area to take a look at. So definitely look and see if you can find any fish relating to the pond dam. Not just the outside, but also the inside. We talk about the inside of the pond dam a lot, and that's because those are always good areas to fish, especially in the summertime and the wintertime. So take a look at those. And then I'm going to keep moving down. Did have a little stick up that was right in here. But again, the river channel is probably over here. And that's why we're not seeing too much on this side. I could be wrong, but I'm sure it probably just zigzags all through here. But you can kind of tell when it gets closer because we'll start getting better stuff. As we move further down here, definitely take a look at this. This almost looks like there's some shell collecting right up in here or something. You can see that's definitely a hard spot, something going on. Can't tell what it is, but those light white specks, sometimes on Google Earth, you'll be looking at it and they almost look like birds, but the birds do look different. These are not birds. There's something going on here, very scattered, but take a look at that. If those are shell beds, then that is a really good area to be fishing around. So take a look at it and just see what that is. As we move further down here, got a little bit going on the edge of this point as well. If we move further out, you'll see it's just a very fine section, but it's right here. And I've got it marked to check as well. So check that out. I don't know what that is. It's very hard to tell, but definitely could be a good area to look at. Very, very specific. Doesn't look like it's a huge spot, but it could definitely be collecting fish there. So as we move further down here on the left side, I didn't see too much going on in this bank line, not a lot going on until we got into around in here. And then when we got in here, we start finally seeing some good stuff to fish around. So moving over here, let me zoom this in for you. You've got some really good rocks that come off this point. See them over here? Now, obviously you want to be careful. You got a lot of flooded timber and stick ups and stuff like that. But look at that little point right in there. That looks really good. And again, if we pull that water up, you're not going to know that that's there, right? You're also not going to know those stumps are there that you can hit. So be careful when you're coming in here, but fish that underwater point that's right there. That could be really good for you guys. All right, then moving on down, I'm going to come down this bank line. We've got some pretty good rocks and things. Again, yes, I know you're like, hey, you're an idiot, man. You're marking rock on that whole bank line. No, I'm marking the spots that are the high percentage spots on that bank line. Yes, it's cool that that bank line has some scattered rock and stuff like that, but these are unique rocks and debris spots within that bank line. So you've got some really good rock right in here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Got the big rock here. You got some bigger rock here as well, just in this little area, right? Also right in here, that bigger chunk rock. And again, if we're looking at this, we pull it up. When it's full pool, it's going to look a lot different than what it's looking like here on the map. So don't get confused when you go out there and say, man, it doesn't look anything like what he was showing. Again, right here, we've got some debris. This looks really good. We've got some rocks. These are like just little unique little rock piles. They're just kind of scattered throughout this bank line. You can see them. Again, got another big rock that's way out here sticking out all by itself. Another one right here, all by itself again. Now, if you're out here fishing, maybe you're pounding that bank line, just spend a little more time on these spots, because these spots are going to be your higher percentage spots. They're probably going to be collecting to that. They may be on this bank line, but they're going to be right there. Maybe not out here in the middle related to nothing. So just pay attention to what you're fishing around. I think it's really going to help you guys. Also, you've got some more rock that's over in here. And then we've got some pretty good laydowns going on down this bank line. Finally, get some good stuff you can flip around, stuff like that. So take a look at all that. That's definitely going to be submerged, right? It's not going to be, not going to look like that. If we move that up to the, to more full pool, you'll see that that's pretty far out. So that could be a really good laydown to go check out as well. Those rocks too, those rocks are pretty far out. So then moving out here, we're going to move on down. Didn't see a lot going on this bank line until we got down in here, and I really like this point. See how this is a long tapering point? You guys know I like those, especially come fall time. And then on top of that point, you've got some pretty good scattered like chunk rock and stuff like that. So definitely take a look at that point. That point looks really good. Again, looking at a full pool, you might just kind of zoom by it and not realize that point comes way out here. You might just be cooking it down the lake and not have any idea that you just passed a really good spot right there in the middle of the lake. That was actually pretty shallow as well. So then moving up here, we're going to come over. We've got just more rock formations and things like that to fish around. Some really heavy rock coming right off this point. Right here, you got some really good boulders, all kinds of stick ups and stuff that you could flip around. That all looks good. That buckbrush is always fun to fish. You've got rock that's scattered throughout it. So if you wanted to just hit those primary areas, you've got the wood and the rock, but then of course you got a ton of it. It's kind of like coming into one of those lakes that has just a full football field of lily pads. You're like, where do I start? Well, if you want to kind of figure out where to start on this bank line, maybe you want to be specific, and maybe you're slow fishing. You don't want to take the time to go all the way down that bank line. Just come here and spend 10 minutes on each one of these spots, and I guarantee that's going to help you guys out and make you a lot more efficient. All right, so then moving on down here, got some more rock going on here. Of course, a lot of rock on this bank line, so I just hit the primary areas, the ones that looked a lot different. You got some rock right around in here as well that we talked about. And then as we move up here into this little pocket, let me show you guys real quick where I'm at so I don't lose you. We started up there. We're in this very first pocket coming down here on the west side. So we just came down through here and we're coming into this pocket. There's a pretty good creek channel that's back here. So moving back in here, we've got some more rock that I marked for you guys. This looks good too. This point's way out here, closer towards the main channel out here. Definitely look at that rock in there. But if you move back in here, you find you got a little creek channel. You guys don't have much creek channel going on Possum Kingdom there. It's not like the East Texas lakes at all, but there is a creek channel there and they will relate to it. So definitely look at those areas, especially in the time of seasons, when they're up shallow. You want to go check those places out. All right, then moving up here, we've got some additional rock that's going on. We've got another creek channel coming through here. Some more debris that's back here too, so this looks really good. And then as I move further down here, we've got just some ramps. Finally start seeing some ramps. I don't think we've seen too many ramps so far. We've got a couple ramps here. This one looks interesting because it's probably pretty far under the water at full pool, especially being off that long point. So yeah, it is completely submerged. So come out here and take a look at that. That one looks really good. That kind of reminds me of that Louisville. I don't know if you guys saw the video when we were fishing Louisville, but we got on this boat ramp pattern on Lake Louisville, and it was dynamite. And it was things like this, finding old boat ramps that were completely submerged, or really just finding any boat ramp. And we started fishing, and we were catching fish on every single boat ramp. It was the craziest thing that you've seen, but it'll happen when you get on that ramp pattern. It'll definitely happen. Again, here's that rock that's way out here that I told you, looked really good. And then as we move back in here, those two channels. And then coming off here, we've got some rock that's out here off this point too. So let me pull this back down. And you can see it totally messes you up. You don't even realize that this is out here. You got some really good rock that's right over here. and stick ups and things like that. So you got a good combination. You got the point, the rock, the shallow water, the little flat they can come up here and feed on. All that's looking pretty good right in there. You've also got good ramps down in here. Again, these ramps are going to be submerged quite a bit, right? When that water goes up, those ramps are going to be way under the water. So you've got a lot of good fishing area right in there, right in here, right in here. All of that looks just really good. Then moving over here, pull the lake back down. You're going to be careful getting back in these places. Like every other lake in Texas, there's 1,000 trees, but we've got some debris that's back in here too, right? So a really good kind of package of laydowns going on in there. Probably good for you crappie fishermen as well. We've got this point here, looks really good. It's like they dug it out, but it's got a little rock point that comes over here right back behind this dock. You know something's hanging out in there. Probably a big bird that's just chilling right behind all that stuff. You got ramps over here again. Because this lake fluctuates so much, these ramps can really go underwater. So when those things get underwater, man, take advantage of those for sure. Moving over here, we got some more ramps like this ramp here. You know that thing's almost submerged when that lake's at full pool. And it is. It's totally gone. You can't even tell that it's there. And the seawall's way up here. So anyways, just some really good stuff to take a look at. Those ramps look like they can be some really good spots for you. Moving over here, didn't see a lot going on. I mean, obviously there's a lot going on here on these points with these stick ups and stuff, but nothing I could really point out for you that say it was a lot different. There is some debris back in here. If you look back here, there's like this really big pile back here. No idea what it is. You got a couple tires. I'm thinking maybe crappie area. So go back there and take a look at it. If you can get back there, I think that'll really help you guys out a lot. And then I'm going to keep moving on down through here. We've got a couple more ramps that are over here. You can see them here. And then I'm going to move up here a little bit further. And we start seeing again, just some different rock formations. If you look here, I marked it rock, but really it's like rock and debris. You got laydowns in here that you could flip around and fish around, all kinds of good stuff you could fish around in this little pocket. I think that'll really help you guys out a lot. Also back in here, you got these old ramps and things, right? Like clearly this was an old ramp that's not even being used anymore. So we'll see what that looks like when the water's up. This looks like this is the active ramp. This is West Side Public Boat Ramp. This one looks active. You got something going on back here. I have no idea what that is. You got ramps back here. Let's look at this. So we look at this, in 2013, and it looks kind of like a hot mess. We got a lot of ramps going on, a lot of structure we could fish around, a lot of cover we could fish around, drop-offs, little points, stuff like that. But if we move it up, 2016, now it's like a totally different lake. And you're like, okay, wait a second. Where'd all that stuff go? So that ramp's gone pretty much. You got a good ramp in there you can fish. That concrete thing we saw right in here, that's totally submerged. So that could be good to fish around. If you can get back in here, I don't know what these lines are. So hopefully you're not blocked from getting back there, but there's good laydowns back there. This ramp looks really good to fish off of as well. These two ramps too. So just a really good area. If you were launching there at that West Side Public Boat Ramp in a kayak, that you have some pretty good stuff to fish around just right there. That's really close to you to access. You've also got another ramp over here. And again, coming out here, notice I put rock, and there's a lot of rock around here, but this one's different, right? This is a rocky little point that sticks out. So go check that out. We've also got a ramp that's over here. That one's going to be pretty submerged too. You can tell it's so flat that when the water fluctuates, that thing probably goes up and back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, here it's barely in the water, and then the other image, it was totally in the water way out here. So that's really flat up in here, but they will get up in here and feed. So take a look at those. Take a look at those ramps too, especially those ledges off the side of the ramps. If they don't have the rocks, they'll usually have those little ledges, and they'll hug close to those ledges. And you can find them, but you just got to really be specific on how you make your cast and how you're working across that ledge. You really want to run down it like parallel with it. All right, so we got more ramps in here as well. As we move further back here, just some more rock over here. You can see some scattered rock that was right in here. That one looks really good around those docks. There's rock in here with all these stick ups. This could be a good area to look at too. Got a little ramp over here and then some more rock here. Again, guys, this looks different when you're out there and that lake is at full pool. it's going to look completely different to you. So you got to be careful. You could really tear up your boat right in here. That looks fairly shallow. So looking there, there's those rocks that look like they were, up on the bank. They're out in the water. These rocks out here are out in the water as well. Really good areas to take a look at. Really high percentage areas. Again, good rock along all this bank line. I'm not going to mark every bank line that has the rock, but those are going to be your more high percentage areas. Then coming out here, you've also got a little ramp that's over here. As we move further back into this cove, these docks look good too. All these docks look good, actually. Anytime you can find these kind of docks, so the docks that have pretty much been destroyed. Now, this dock has probably been rebuilt since 2013. So if we pull up the image of 2016, we're probably going to see, these are not being built anymore. But the ones that aren't being built, but they've been destroyed by damage by winds and things like that, and they've sat there for a few years, those are really good docks. So make sure to stop on those docks, or if you see those dock pilings, they're just the pilings that are there, stop there and flip those pilings as well. Make sure you're making contact with the pilings, but you're going to have a lot of success there. And then just mess around with your weights and see if they like it dropping a lot faster, if they like kind of that slow fall. A lot of times they'll like that slow fall. All right, so you also get the ramps that are back in here as well, more ramps. And then this looks really interesting. Check out this little point and check out the shade line that it's creating there. So that's got to be a decent drop, right? It's got to be. Pull it up to 2016. It's totally underwater. So I'm thinking you got a little bit of a drop there, but plus you've got that rock that's out there off that point, and you're getting closer towards Main Lake out here too. So that looks really good. So definitely look at that little area right in there. All right, moving down back to 2013. If we pull out here, this looks cool too. Check this out. It's like this tire row with some debris and rock around it as well. So you could fish all along just this little line. And I bet you at some point in time of the year, that's going to be a great spot to fish. It's kind of off the beaten path as far as a lot of people aren't going to know that it's there unless they've watched this video with Simplistic Fishing and I've marked it for you guys. Or if they've gone out in Google Earth, they're not going to know it's there. The locals know it's there. But now we've just uncovered something really good. So definitely go take a look at that. That is going to be good. I don't know when it's going to be good, but take a look at it. If you're out there fishing, just go by and check it out and see what's out there. Now, also, when you're out there, follow that down a little bit, and you're going to see where there's a little bit of structure down here. In fact, I'll go ahead and mark this for you guys right now. This looks like some type of foundation or something that's out under the water. So there's something going on right in this area. I can't tell, obviously, I don't know this area well or not. Didn't know what this lake looked like when it was being built or anything like that. But there's obviously something going on in this area that looks like it could be really good for fishing just because of the way it's located. It's shallow. It's got some good depth to it around it. It all just kind of sets up really good. So you got that debris line that's right there. And if they're not there, maybe they're a little bit deeper, come out here and fish around this foundation right on this side. And I think you're going to have some luck. We've also got something else going on right in here. Oh, that's a boat. Never mind. The boat hanging out around that point. But again, this is another one of those points that we talk about. We'll probably talk about this on offshore. But nice flat top, access to deep water on both sides. Looks like a really good place to go fishing in the fall. All right, so then moving up here, we're going to go for about 5 or 10 more minutes, guys, and then we'll shut this down and we'll go on to we'll move on to the next video for Possum Kingdom, so I don't bore you guys too much here. But we got some more rock going on in here, more ramps over here as well. We got some debris that's back in here. That this looks really interesting right here around this dock. It's kind of hidden, again, off the beaten path, but something's going on right in there. I don't know if they've got set up for crappie or something, but there's something there. You've also got some ramps that are back in here. And then as we move further up here, we got some more rocks that kind of stick out off this point. So take a look at that. And then moving on down here, let's go ahead and finish this thing at this marina. Okay, so we're going to stop here at the breakers on Possum Kingdom Lake. That's where we're going to stop. So we're going to move on down here. I just want to show you a couple more spots, a little bit more than a couple, but these brush piles. Man, I love it when the homeowners have all the brush around their docks. It's like just money. I get excited. Landon gets excited when he sees those little strings hanging from the bottom of the docks because you know there's a brush pile that thing's attached to, and they're always just great places to catch fish. So take a look at these docks right in here. These look really good. Brush piles all along the bank line. Good rock around the point, but definitely look at those docks. And then moving back here, got some ramps to show you guys. More ramps that you could look. Again, these are submerged, right? These are way underwater. So this one that comes way out here, this must be really shallow because it comes that far out. But moving up to 2016, that thing's way underwater. So those can always be great places to look. And then here you got more ramps. I think there was some debris back in here we could look at. So we do have some debris around this dock and some more around this dock too. And I did not even see that, but check that out. That looks like a little debris spot right there too. So I'll add that for you guys. And I'll fix those icons and get everything cleaned up when we're done. We got some more rock that's around here on this point. And then if we come over here, we got a ramp that's back there, but I really like this little point that comes out here. See how it's got some rock on the top of it, kind of sandy area, and then it finally starts getting some rock and gets some bigger rock right here off the edge of it. And again, if we're looking out, you're going to think of that as being offshore. That's kind of offshore to me. I guess it is offshore, but still in some pretty shallow water. So don't be scared to kind of back off the bank on this lake, especially as in these shallow areas, and just pull off until you can get to the rock and then start fishing around that area. I think you're going to have a little bit more luck. All right, so pull that back down. Take a look at what's back in here. We got some more debris back in here. You can see that looks really good. I don't know what that is. Almost looks like could have been a potential like old roadbed, possibly the way it's washed out there, but take a look at that. And then we got some more ramps back here, more ramps, some good rock that's right off this point. Notice how this rock's like just a straight line. I love the ones that make the lines. Like, you notice how excited I got when I saw that debris field earlier with the tires, and it was just like the straight line. They just seem to set up on it a lot better, and it's a lot easier for me to set up the boat and position the boat correctly on that type of cover, or if the structure is set up that way as well, you can really line your boat up perfectly to where you're making really good casts and really high percentage casts to catch fish. So also back in here, you've got some rock back here behind this dock. And we're getting pretty close to the marina. We got some more rock, just scattered rock, right? These are just little scattered rock piles that make really defined lines. So really good rock there, ramp, awesome rock around this point right here, really heavy. Right around this ramp area, I can see this being good. And you've got a little bit of rock over here off the side of this point as well. And then pulling back in here, we've got ramps, right? And then rock along this little line here. Now, if you look at this, when you pull it up, you're going to wonder why I marked that, because it doesn't look like that when you're out there. So again, you got to be careful because this is going to be pretty shallow, I would imagine. But that rock is out here, right? So having that rock line out here as opposed to up here on the bank line is a little bit different, but you're still going to fish it the same way. Bust out your medium diving or shallow diving crankbaits depending on your depth there and go crazy. You could also throw your swim baits up on this flat and probably have some luck as well. So a lot of good things you could do up in there. You've also got some debris down here. So I said to check this. I don't know what that is, but check it out. And then notice sandy, right? Sandy, sandy, sandy. And then finally you hit a little bit of rock in this area. So check a look at this area right here. Same thing, right? That was sandy. And then you kind of have that little rock that started back in there. So that area looks interesting. And then here we get up in here, back up here to the breakers on Possum Kingdom Lake. So we will stop there. That'll cover us for basically our first video for Possum Kingdom. So we made some pretty good progress. We moved all the way down from the north side down to here in about 30 minutes, so that's not too bad. I'm going to continue breaking this thing down for you. I'm actually going west to east, so I'm doing Toledo Bend at the same time. So I'll do one Toledo Bend, and then I'll do one Possum Kingdom and back and forth. So I'm going to switch back over to Toledo Bend for the next one, and then I'll come back and hit up Zone 2 for Possum Kingdom on the next video for this lake. So until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. If you want to get these waypoints, go out, check it out, simplisticfishing.com. You can pick up a digital file if you want that, or I can send you the SD card with all these points already on there for your graph. You just plug them in and go. So until next time, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy, guys.